Hey, everybody. Welcome to another astrological chit chat with my mom, world renowned astrologer, Wendy Cicchetti. All her links, everything is below. You can follow her. In fact, I highly recommend you can get on her newsletter. And actually, uh, we've been doing these chats for a while. And lately, things have been super heavy. Like, it's heavy. And that's happening astrologically. That's it's in the stars, baby. It's in the stars, and it is impacting us and affecting what's happening. And it's just super important that these aspects, obviously, everything is happening for a reason, and that and we'll talk more and more about this. But the most important thing, even with all this news that can be heavy and challenging, we're going through a lot of challenging stuff, and that's what Mom's going to address today. Is like what's happening right now, what is happening energetically, and in what areas, like, and how is it impacting different areas, from money to government to everything, and just how important it is that you keep yourself straight and good through all of it. And actually, what's great is because since there's so many challenging aspects, Mom has actually created an awesome workshop that she's doing next Saturday in regards to all of this. So, Mom, can you talk a little bit about your workshop next weekend?
Yeah, well, what I'm wanting to address with people is how to thrive through all these earth changes. And we're going to talk about stuff like that. I'm also going to cover the 5 mistakes people make sometimes when the world is changing very rapidly, and find ways to, get through them maybe with a little more, thinking things through than just responding out of fear. And so we'll be addressing all of those. It's just for a very small fee, and but I think the information will be good. Those people who are signing up, I say, okay, bring a notebook, take notes on this stuff.
And how can people register for this event?
Well, I'll have it in the below the video, which will be the link to where you can go sign up. It's only $24. It's not a big deal. But I think some of the information can be pretty life-changing.
Yeah. And it's important. This is the kind of information we need at
Yeah,
these times. We know we're all looking out going, what the hell's going on?
yeah,
Like, are you kidding me right now? I'm just amazed at how fast stuff is happening now. Like, just the information that's coming, and just, what's on the horizon and all of that. So, super important. So, Mom's going to share a bunch of that with us today. And what the heck is going on? What are we dealing with now, Mom?
Well, I'm assuming everybody's kind of felt the wacky energy the last few days. Have you felt it? Where it's just, even my cats are going crazy. There's exhaustion, there's a lack of balance, unsettling energies. That's kind of what it is. And that's because Uranus and Venus are conjunct each other. Uranus Venus is quick and sudden shifts and changes energetically, and it can have to do with finances as well, but other things like earthquakes. Now, in the last week, there have been, I think, about 7 earthquakes over 6 point whatever. Most of them are like 6.2, 6.3, and this is unusual. We don't get that many over 6 point, but that's going to continue. We're just in earthquake season right now with astrologically. The energies are for that. And, when you think about some of the big ones that have happened and the people that are suffering, send your prayers, and we may talk more about that too later on. But what we're looking at now is managing those energies. And what you have to understand now, I told you that March was a pivotal month, but April and May are game-changing months too. So these first 3 months, or March, April, and May, are really game-changing months. And so with
And what do you mean by that they're game changing? What do you
well,
mean?
with everything that the world is involved in right now that we see, from court cases, which we have seen, indictments, with the stuff with money, with the world changes, with the tornadoes, with the volcanoes, unprecedented tornadoes lately, just, and flooding everywhere. That just blows me away when I see, some other country or some other city or state has had horrible, flooding. So earth changes in the governments, changes in, it's so interesting what we have traditionally valued, that, what's going on with the current leadership doesn't seem to value any of those things anymore. And so, we see very obviously that there is a concerted effort to make substantive changes particularly in the United States, but literally all over the globe. So that's what is happening. April and May, we're going to see more and more of the same kinds of things we've seen in March. Okay. And then we've got this full moon coming in Libra on the 5th. And it's interesting that this is the 7th full moon in a row at 16 degrees. Highly unusual that it would be that many, 7 months of full moons. Isn't that amazing? And this number 16 in the tarot is the Tower. What does the Tower card represent in the tarot? It's like everything just crashes and burns, breakdown. And
so, but wait a second. When you say it's at 16 degrees, for those of us out there that has no idea what that means, what does that mean?
That means that the moon is at 16 degrees of the sign that it's in. So this
of the sign that it's in. Okay.
The full moon is in Libra at 17 degrees Libra. At 16 degrees Libra. Okay. So all of the past 7 full moons, it's been at 16 degrees of the sign that it's in. That's just highly unusual. And then that Tower energy. But that's what we see happening, guys. Because everything's just changing. There's chaos, destruction all around. And so we just want to be aware, and we want to figure out how to get through it all. But so the moon is in Libra, but the sun is in Aries. Okay. So when you're dealing with the moon, it deals with the sun and the moon together and what that represents combined. And so the sun's in Aries, and it's conjunct Jupiter in Aries, and also Chiron in Aries. Now, Chiron's to do with healing, coming up with ways to stay healthy. But Jupiter conjunct the sun in Aries is like, Aries makes everything bigger. Everything is bigger in Aries, but Jupiter makes it even bigger. So it's a conflagration of strong energy. Now, Jupiter does add some optimism to the mix, which we desperately need, because I know a lot of
because I remember you saying that Jupiter's like the planet of luck. Like it's like this,
luck.
It's a really great, like it's great when Jupiter's on your side.
Right. It's good luck and it's optimism. But you have to remember too the sign that it's in. And Jupiter in Aries. Now remember, Aries is ruled by Mars, okay? And Mars is this aggressive energy. Mars is the energy of impulsiveness, impatience. It's the warrior energy, okay? It's the pioneer energy, looking for new solutions, new ways, going where no man has gone before. That's Aries energy. It's very strong. It takes courage, and it also means autonomy. We want to be able to do our own thing in this world where more and more government encroachment, okay? So it also means a new start and new beginnings. That's Aries energy. So yes, Jupiter has to do with good luck, with optimism, and also, having hope in things, good fortune, all of those kinds of things. So I'm hoping that mitigates some of the strength of that moon, the strength of 3, important planets in Aries energy. All right. So now when we talk about Libra, strong Libra energy, And this full moon shining a light on that, it has to do with balance and fairness, harmony and peace. It's also linked to the law and to the courts and legal cases. Isn't that interesting? Going on right now. So the moon is also in a hard aspect to Uranus, this moon on the 5th, which is rebellion, revolution, to bring out the truth, because Libra is all about truth and fairness and justice. So if there is rebellion and revolution, it will be to get to the truth. This is a big time awakening. And, you know, we've been talking about this now for 3 years, that we are in this time where people are waking up. And most people, if everything's Pollyanna, they don't wake up. It takes pain to wake people up, discomfort, pain, and looking at a situation and going, oh my gosh, what is really going on? And so many people have just been numb, just watching the media and believing all of the smoke and mirrors and all of that stuff, and they're numb. But now we are in the thick of it, and more people are going to be waking up and realizing what's been going on, and that we've had the wool pulled over our eyes. You know, so if you look at this revolution, look at what's going on in Paris and in the Netherlands and in Israel. They're, you know, people are out in the streets. They're done.
But you're not going to see that on
No,
mainstream
you're not.
media. They don't report on it. They don't want you to know that that stuff's going down. Like, yeah, but you see that just there's tens of thousands of people on the street
Yeah.
in France. Like, they're just, it's amazing. Like, everyone's taken to the streets. Like,
Yeah. You know.
but we don't hear about it in the US. Like, we don't hear much about it at all. You have to actually have some form of alternative media
Yeah.
to actually get what's going on in other places.
And also, it's interesting that a lot of the earthquakes are not appearing on the government website. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. You have to go to an alternate. And there's this one fellow I follow on YouTube, which has a whole different system, and he shows them all. So anyway, now also at this time of the moon, we have Mars, Saturn, a trine with Mars and Saturn, which is warlike energy, very aggressive and discordant energy. And we feel all of these things that I'm talking to you about, you know, we feel it all, we see it, you know, we're aware that there's a tremendous amount of discordant energy going on. So now the other big issue, you know, we get past this moon, you know, we've got all of those energies, but on the 23rd of March, Pluto moved into Aquarius. It's dipping its toe into Aquarius, okay? And it'll be there through June 11th. Now, Aquarius equals truth and awakening, communities coming together, social structure and systems for truth and justice. It also represents the desire for freedom. Pluto in Aquarius deals with rebellion as well as innovation and technology. Now, Pluto brings forth or uncovers the corruption in the tech field, because Aquarius rules technology. With Pluto there, it's going to uncover all of the corruption in technology. So that you can expect to be coming out. Interesting, I read a couple of days ago that Elon Musk signed a letter with about 100 other people who are involved in technology, asking for a moratorium on advanced AI technology, because they want to suspend it for a while, because it has advanced to a point of lack of control and unpredictability. Already. And they're saying, stop it. Let's take a 6-month moratorium, talk about it, and come to some kind of conclusion, because it's already just exploding in very unpredictable and I think ways that kind of like how we've seen in some of these dystopian like the one iRobot. If you've ever seen iRobot, that was a really good movie. But anyway, clearly there is a concern about it, and it's not just Elon Musk. It's like over 100 scientists that are saying stop, halt. Okay. Now let's talk about Libra more. It's ruled by Venus, which deals with money and values. And Venus is in Taurus at 27 degrees on the 8th. Now, this is really interesting. This degree in Taurus is a very destructive degree because it's conjunct the star called Algol. And this star is about decapitation, or people losing their heads and going crazy. Now, this will be an orb for about 4 days. I think it starts around the 7th through probably the 11th or 12th of April. Isn't that interesting? Now, I had heard about Algol, for many years. In fact, I thought it was at 26 degrees, but as I researched it, it's actually 26 and almost 27 degrees. And Venus is going to be conjunct that on the 8th. So people going crazy. Now, this could be money, and it can also represent values. People with very powerful Christian and political values losing their heads over some of the things that have happened politically. Interesting, huh?
Interesting. Huh.
So this
I could see both happening.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Now, this could represent a time of financial loss, but in general, people going crazy over whatever they value is going to be an issue. Okay. So, have to be careful what I say, because YouTube has increased their censorship. And so there are several astrologers I've been listening to who have had their videos taken down. And so
From astrology video.
Astrology videos.
A freaking astrology video gets censored.
Yeah.
That's when you know we're in trouble.
Yeah. And so this video will have an uncensored link
version.
On Rumble. So where I will talk very freely about some of the things that are going on, but I have to be careful. I don't want to lose my channel, And so now the other thing that is huge with Pluto is that Pluto in Aquarius is actually in what they call a T-square, or two squares with the north and the south node. Okay. Now, the north node is our collective humanity's collective future. I misspelled humanities. I'm going, what? The north node is humanity's collective future. The south node represents humanity's past. Okay. So the south node is the past and the north node is the future. And when we're dealing with world astrology, then it's humanity. If we're dealing with a person's individual chart, then it's your personal future or your personal past, or what you came in with. Okay. So it's the collective past. All right. This T-square represents tremendous social change. And the Taurus, now the north and the south node, okay, the north node is in Taurus. The south node is in Scorpio. Okay. So the north node represents in Taurus money, food, wealth, banking, financial assets. Okay. Now, the South Node in Scorpio represents loans and the stock market, bonds, big money, joint money, and investments, criminal money, and betrayal. But it's called the financial axis with the South and North Node with Taurus and Scorpio. And so here we've got Pluto in the middle with one on one side and one on the other. And what's Pluto all about? Death and rebirth, shaking up what needs to be shaken up. All right. The last time, and this is very, very interesting, the last time that Pluto was in Aquarius, square the nodes in Taurus and Scorpio, was in 1789. Now, what happened in 1789? Well, that was when our Bill of Rights was introduced. Okay, giving people their rights. In France, the starving peasants stormed the Bastille on April 14th. That's why they call it Bastille Day, resulting in the death of the monarch and France eventually becoming a republic. Now, when I think about what's going on in France today, this is just so interesting. They then were given, a paper was given, just similar to the Bill of Rights, called the Definition of Man in France. It was introduced. And the entire financial structure shifted, creating a middle class in Europe and in France. Now, before that, it was the peasants and the wealthy. And this new shift in the financial structure back in, 1789 was what created a middle class in Europe. It changed the whole structure. And that's what's going on now around the world.
But so for me, when you say that it actually was a positive thing, even though something traumatic happened where they go in and they remove the monarch and there's like a takeover, like people revolt and they're like, no more. And they go in and they do, and then the result of that was ultimately very positive. Like more people got to, like, there's a middle class, there's people now that actually get to enjoy a beautiful life and have money. So it's intense and there's some challenging aspects, but we got the Bill of Rights.
Right. And they got what was called the Definition of Man, which was a Bill of Rights for the French. Isn't that interesting? To get these type of massive changes, it's like giving birth. It's painful. It is a painful process. And when we've finally gone through it, we just have a baby. Now, these particular things of our Bill of Rights and what happened in France didn't take place until 12 years after Pluto had moved into Aquarius. So it didn't like it move in and then, now that can happen sometimes. When Pluto moved into Capricorn in 2008, just right at the same time, all of the financial collapse happened in 2008. Remember that? So some things take longer than others. Now, what happened with the financial collapse in 2008 with all of these people who had sold loans that weren't of value, and millions of people lost their homes, their retirement, everything. But what happened with the government here? They went in and propped it all up. Not one person went to jail. Not one, after screwing over all these people.
Blows my mind.
I know. And, our government was quick to go in and just prop it up,
Bail them all out.
Bail them out. So anyway, what we have in Aquarius is Aquarius deals with making things equitable. Okay. And so with Pluto in Aquarius, it's going to shift things to where it's more equitable for the people. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to happen like that, and it doesn't mean that it's going to be pain-free. but that's the outcome, the final outcome. Now, once Aquarius or Pluto gets solidly into Aquarius, which will be in, late November of 2024, then it's going to be there for 20 years. But right now, it's just there for 2 months or 12, June 11th, and then it goes back into Capricorn. Now, when it goes back into Capricorn, it's considered the anaretic degree, the most powerful degree in the whole process, which is, the 28th and 29th degree of Capricorn, where it digs in and finishes its work. Okay. So
And when is that?
That's going to happen between June and July, December and January of 2024, and September to November of 2024. So it's like a trigger. This is a strong triggering time as Pluto is finishing up its work with the financial systems and breaking up the power structure, the governmental power structures that no longer serve us. So 23 is going to, and into 24, we're going to see as Pluto goes back into Capricorn at those powerful degrees, so much more is going to be broken up. So this isn't like a one-day thing, guys. And those peasants that stormed the Bastille were starving. They didn't have any food. Were they pissed? Yeah. They were sick of it. And we're going to see more of that, like we're seeing around the world today. So now, let's see. Okay,
What country did that just happen in?
Netherlands.
Last year? No, it was an.
Another
Asian
one. Was it Sri Lanka?
Sri Lanka.
Yeah. Yeah, that happened. And
they came in and just stormed all the government buildings, their homes, everything, threw them all out.
Well, they call this havoc created by Pluto going back into Capricorn. Capricorn represents governmental structure, big business, big money. It's like into a wrecking ball.
Mm-hmm.
Just taking a wrecking ball to all of it. But it will, of course, make things more equitable in the long run. Okay. Now, we want to talk about the upcoming eclipses. This is huge, as they will be extremely strong and intense. The Aries solar eclipse on April 19th, Aries, what have we just talked about? Aries, ruled by Mars, aggressive warrior energy. These are fighting energies. And
them fighting words.
Okay. And then the Scorpio lunar eclipse on May 5th. Okay. So during this eclipse season, Pluto is also squared the nodes, Scorpio and Taurus. So it will continue to trigger the eclipse points until next year. And I'll talk more about, the eclipses as videos, with videos in the future. But yeah, with the retrograde cycle and with what Pluto's doing, it's going to be triggering all of that intensity. And remember that eclipses have a long, long time period for things to evolve and change. And so this is going to be very powerful and very strong because of the placement of Pluto square the nodes. So then, on top of all this fun stuff, we have Mercury retrograde in Taurus. Okay. And that's coming up on April 20th through May 14th. Now, always remember that Mercury is only happy going fast. It's actually, technically, it needs to be going at least 40 minutes of arc, in speed before it's happy. But less than that, that's when there's problems with communications and travel, basically.
This slows down.
And so about a week before the retrograde and a week after, that's called the shadow period, where it's slowing down and it's not happy. It's not comfortable. Now, interestingly enough, the very middle of the retrograde is the best part because it's going fast. Retrograde. It's retrograding fast. The speed is fast. But then as it starts to slow down again, then things get more intense. So it's, like I say, it's going to be in Taurus the entire retrograde. What have we talked about? Taurus, finances, food, agriculture, values, all of this stuff. So that's going to be interesting. And typically, and too, with Pluto going back into Capricorn, we're going to hear more revelation of the underbelly of all of the evil, dark stuff that permeates our government. So we're going to be getting all kinds of revelations. The revelations right now are coming so fast, you can't keep up with them. It's just, there's so many whistleblowers. There is so many people telling all right now that it's actually amazing, and it's actually wonderful that the people are speaking up. But
I still don't understand why no one's like, yeah, all of these whistleblowers, all this information, but no one's going down.
Well,
like, this is the part that I really struggle with. It's just like the revelations and the information of the like actual criminals that like criminals.
I know.
And it's like, why is nothing, here's the information, but nothing happens.
Because of
and that's the part that I struggle with.
Yeah, the current powers that be aren't going to turn in on themselves.
Yeah, they protect each other.
That's right. They do.
So even though it's all out there, it's just like, yeah, we don't care. We run the show.
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, the legacy media is really struggling. Did you hear about yesterday what CNN called the bloodbath at, I think it was NBC? All kinds of layoffs. More and more people are stopping listening to these shows. I think CNN has lost like 67% of its following. These guys, you can only keep up with the lies for so long, and more is coming out. More and more people are saying, this doesn't make sense, and they're shifting to watching in different ways, watching new things. Interesting. Newsmax, I think it was Dish, but I'm not sure. It could be one of the other cable networks, decided to cancel Newsmax. And they lost hundreds of thousands of their followers because that was the only outlet that people could get real news. And so now they put it back on because they lost so many subscribers.
Of their subscribers.
Yeah. And I read just this week that they've added Newsmax back.
Interesting.
People are done. You either provide us with the truth or we're done, So anyway, let's see. All right. So for those who want to hear the uncensored version, this is where we're stopping, and we'll come back onto YouTube after I've gone through this uncensored part.
Basically, all the juicy goodness is about to come up. So if you want more in-depth stuff that we can't talk about on the main channels, you need to go to Rumble, and the link is below.
Yeah.
To finish up this conversation, if you're leaving us now, thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time. But if you're hanging around,
yeah, and there's more stuff we'll talk about at the end of this one for YT. We'll be back onto here in a few minutes. Many people are feeling they can no longer handle low frequency energies. The frequency of the planet is raising so rapidly that those that are shifting rapidly are pulling away from anything or anyone that is in the third dimensional matrix. Have you felt that? What?
It's just funny, just like
I know.
it's exact. Like I have literally had to do karate chopping,
Yeah.
like in my life. Like, no, no, I'm not, no, I don't, no. Like I will not tolerate anything that doesn't elevate me. Like I won't allow people in my life that, no, it's really interesting. It's been very like,
Dried.
no,
Yeah. No, I know.
no.
And do not focus on what you see. The agenda is to distract you and make you fearful.
Yeah.
Refuse to be fearful and don't be moved by what you see, even if it looks bad, if it looks like everything's getting worse, because I personally believe that it's all going to shift because everybody's waking up. And so it says, stay focused on the God of your understanding. Stay courageous and prayerful. Do not comply or fall prey to this insane world. We are preparing and prepping for the new earth. That's what's going on with us. That's what we're moving forward with. Focus on love and on expansive kindness to all. Really focus on the love. We are in a crazy and bumpy ride of consciousness, and we see it all around us. You know, it's so visible now when you see the people that are unconscious. It's like, it's like, oh, okay, that's who you are. Very, very obvious. We are witnessing the old world collapsing. Step into the new and sidestep all the drama. I have counseled you people over and over and over again to stay emotionally neutral. Now they're stepping up their game, the globalists, the people who want the one world government, you know, the new world order. They're stepping up their game because they know that people are waking up and they got to hurry before more people wake up. Okay. So they're stepping up their game. And so don't comply.
And doubling down.
Doubling down. Don't be
doubling
fearful.
down.
You know, just work on focusing on creating something new and high frequency. Be the warrior. Be the pioneering energy. Gather with like-minded people in your communities that are awake, you know, that are seeing it all. Think about, what do you stand for? Ask yourself that. What do I stand for? You know, it used to be that we'd go to parades and we'd wave the flag and we'd start to cry in our patriotism, you know. Oh, I was there. And I wouldn't wave a flag for what this country's become for anything. It is not what we thought it was. And it hasn't been for decades of time. So what do you stand for? Do you want that to come back? Do you want to have love and something that you can look to and go, okay, that symbolizes who we truly are? You know, step out of the drama and don't comply and stay close to the God of your understanding and be prayerful, okay? And find the time for stillness and balance. Okay, that's all I got, honey.
Oh, you got, that's all she's got. And it would be really helpful if you take her workshop this next weekend, and learn more about just the preparation and what you need to do through these times. Because it is really important. And again, the most important thing that you can do is, even amongst all of the chaos and the craziness and all the transformation, is still like Mom said, like staying connected to the God of your understanding and continuing to find and fill your day with things that bring you joy. Keep your frequency high. Keep your frequency. Everything is electromagnetic frequency. Everything. Emotion is a frequency. So just really, to me, that your really only job is to monitor your inner world and really make sure that you're doing what you need to do to keep your inner world at peace, out of fear, into love, and fill your day with the things as much as you possibly can of the things that make you feel good
Well, you know,
and raise your vibration.
creativity is very high frequency. And when you're doing something creative like dancing or singing or doing art or, you know, using your hands, like I love mosaics and crochet and whatever, it becomes a meditation. You can really
Yep.
get a lot of thinking done when you're doing something creative because the veil is thinner in the higher frequency.
Yep.
So the
And
higher,
I don't even think it's thinking. I think it's receiving and downloading actual wisdom, information, guidance,
yeah,
like direction when you're in these states of connecting to the creative. Because when you're creative, you're being creative, you're connecting to the creative force of the universe, whatever created everything, that's what you're connecting to. And that's when I receive solutions, I receive clear, direct direction. Like, it's amazing. And it's not like I'm thinking, I'm not sitting there thinking. It's like just the information is flowing and it's clear and it's direct and it's powerful and it guides me. But I know if I don't have those practices in my life, I'm always like looking outside of me to try to find what to do. And like, even if I take a week off, like if I'm tired or whatever, I'm like, I'm not dancing today. After even a few days, I feel the disconnect. But it's like, and then I start to feel anxious and those fear feelings start to rev back up again. And it's like, whoa, like you said, do something creative, connect to your creativity, connect to those things that make you lose time and you disappear, you know,
yeah.
like anything artistic is going to make you lose time, which means you disappear and you could do it for an hour and you don't even realize an hour just went by.
I
That's what I
know.
mean by losing
Yeah.
time.
That's so true. And we're going into planting season, guys, gardening. And that is such good energy. Find you
Oh,
some,
connecting to the earth.
yeah, find
Yes.
some organic seeds. Be sure and get organic and start just creating little, you know, sprouting your organic seeds that you can put in your garden in 3 or 4 weeks. You know, this
Yep.
is a wonderful time to start that stuff.
And if you don't have a garden, because some of us don't have a yard or space, we have an apartment, some pots to throw out on a patio. Like,
Yeah.
you can grow
Or in a
tomatoes,
sunny
like,
spot in the house. Yeah.
yeah. So just think about what you have and what you have access to. And maybe even if there's people around you, and someone's got to be the charge taker, where there might be a group of people in a neighborhood where you're like, hey, let's start a community garden, let's do it together.
Yeah,
Because
that would
it's
be
not.
so great for people because there are a lot of apartment dwellers, you know, that don't have the space. So get together and find somebody who has it and everybody work together to make it so that you get your vegetables, you get what you
Yeah.
need. And
Healthy ones.
there are people around who have cattle and they're willing to sell one and divide it up between people, you know.
Mm.
Things like that that can be done. So there are all kinds of ways. Just do your research, find the people who ranchers and gardeners and, you know, people that have orchards and stuff and start connecting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good,
Takes
good.
a little work, or even just be like, put yourself in that frequency of knowing that you're going to find them.
Yeah.
Like, how good it feels to like know who those people are and that you just magically meet them, and that, like, just what would that feel like if you just magically met the right people?
Right.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, feel that frequency. I'm a firm believer of, that you have to feel what it feels like as if it's happening.
Yes.
Like, and so in your meditation, how good it feels to know the right people, to have guide. Oh my God, inspiration is just orgasmic, and just because it is, when we're inspired, it's orgasmic, and how good it feels to know the right people and to, to have people that support me and can answer my questions and know what I need to do. That feels so good. That's what I mean by really taking the time, whether it's, and it only takes a couple minutes every day to get yourself into that frequency of opening yourself to receive those things into your life. But you've got to, I always say in the morning, fine tune that channel, because
Yeah.
that's all we are. We're just a receiver. We send and receive signals. And so what station are you tuning into every day? Like, and it's just a frequency range, right? Like 98.7, like, which one are you tuning into? Because that's where everything that you need is available.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, you just have to every day for a few minutes tune yourself into those higher frequencies. You know, and if you see yourself falling in the day, that's normal. You might get depressed, someone might piss you off, or things might happen. But then it's recalibrating, going, okay, oh man, I feel really pissed off right now. It's good. Notice it and go, okay, am I going to stay pissed off or am I going to recalibrate? How am I going to recalibrate? What do I need to do? Do I just need to take a deep breath? Do I need to go back into like, okay, that's out of my control. I can't control those things outside of me. I can only control what's going on inside of me. Right. And to understand that you have the power to do that. You have to believe in yourself. You are the boss of you.
That's right. I remember you kids growing up and one of them would say, "You're not the boss of me."
Yeah.
My kids.
And you're like, actually, I am. Yes. But yeah, you are the boss of you. Put your big grown-up panties on.
And don't comply with anything that you view has a red flag to it. Don't do it out of fear. Don't. You'll be sorry if you do.
No compliance.
All right, all the lovelies out there.
That was great. Thanks, Mom. That was awesome. So you guys, we'll be doing this again soon. So just remember to like and subscribe and get on our newsletter and join her next week for her class. And if you have any questions about astrology or looking for a personal reading, you can email her. Email is below. So, I mean, like, it's so great when you guys email questions because then things we can address during these calls. So thank you for joining us. Have a lovely week. Stay positive, stay creative, and do your homework.
Yeah. Bye, all.
Bye, everybody.